You know, today was pretty good. The Chiefs won. It was a fairly comfortable game. Easy win. Chiefs took care of business. And the Buffalo Bills didn't, meaning the Chiefs are now number one in the AFC and hold the number one seed in the playoff seeding. We got a lot to talk about, so let's talk about it. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com. And you know what? Honestly, before I talk about the Chiefs game, I really want to talk about the Bills-Vikings game because that was an insane finish. And obviously that Bills-Vikings game had Chiefs implications, so I think it's appropriate to go in depth on it. But, you know, I have NFL Red Zone, and I had it on just after the Chiefs game to see what was going on. And I saw that Bills-Vikings game was really close, and that was a lot of fun to watch. You know, I had turned it on right when the Chiefs game ended, and that was when the Vikings were driving on the Bills in the final minutes, and Justin Jefferson was going absolutely insane, and he had a crazy one-handed catch that probably should have been picked off. And honestly, my thoughts watching that were, we got to get Patrick Mahomes and Justin Jefferson together somehow because that would be an insane duo. I'm honestly jealous of the Vikings and Justin Jefferson, but He's an insane receiver, and he was a big reason why they won today. He got them all the way down to the 1 yard line, and then the Vikings couldn't convert on second, third down, gets to fourth down. They try a QB sneak with Kirk Cousins. He's just short. Bills think they win the game. Then it's a turnover on downs at the 1 yard line, so the Bills have to find a way to get out of the end zone. Josh Allen fumbles the snap. Vikings recover in the end zone, touchdown Vikings. Then the Bills get the ball back. They march all the way down. Gabe Davis gets a phantom catch. I have no idea how the refs didn't catch that. Gabe Davis gets a phantom catch that gets them pretty much into field goal range. And then they get a few more chunk plays just to make the field goal a little bit easier after that. Goes to overtime. Vikings get the ball to start the half. Drive down the field. Have to settle for a field goal. Bills get the ball back. It looks like they're going to get this thing, Josh Allen with a chance to win this thing in overtime. Guys, the Bills complained about this. They talked about how both teams should get a possession in overtime and all that stuff. Well, they got their possession. You want to know what happened? Josh Allen threw an interception in the red zone, and the Bills lost, giving the Chiefs the number one seed in the AFC. It was an absolutely crazy finish, and of course, long time should have been Chief Patrick Peterson gets the interception to end the game. But yeah, Chiefs are the 1 seed since they took care of business today and beat the Jaguars. But I just had to start by talking about that Bills-Vikings game because it was just crazy. And if any of you saw it, you know how crazy it was. But let's talk about the Chiefs, who defeated the Jaguars today 27-17. I think this game really starts with Patrick Mahomes and the offense because Mahomes had another fantastic day. He is 26 of 35 for 331 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did have a silly interception late in the game that didn't really matter, but it's just one of those, almost kind of like in the Buccaneers game where it was pretty much already over, but it's really, Pat, did you have to do that? That's the time in the game where Patrick Mahomes needs to be stat padding so he can win MVP this year. Nah, but in all seriousness, I think Mahomes is far and away the MVP this year, especially after the way Josh Allen has looked, who's kind of been the media darling this year. It feels like a lot of people kind of picked him to be the MVP before the year even started, and they've been trying to justify their pick ever since, even though he really hasn't been good lately. And today he turned the ball over 4 times, and the Bills lost to the Vikings. So I don't know how he could still be the leader in the MVP ladder. I think Mahomes is pretty much up there. He leads the league in yards. He leads the league in touchdowns. The Chiefs are 7-2 atop the AFC. Everything is going great for them. The only real blemish Mahomes has is that terrible, stupid Indianapolis Colts loss. But most quarterbacks and most teams by this point in the year have that one really dumb loss in the schedule. Remember the Bills last year, before reaching the AFC Championship game, lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the regular season. And that was a horrible loss. We're talking about the Urban Meyer Jacksonville Jaguars from last year. The Bills lost to them. But I digress. Patrick Mahomes, he looked really good today, and that's despite the fact that he lost Juju Smith-Schuster, and Juju Smith-Schuster was knocked out of the game, quite literally, by Jaguar safety Andre Sisco. And I was furious watching what Andre Sisco was able to do multiple times to our players and get away with it. He had a pretty clearly illegal hit on Juju Smith-Schuster, head-to-head contact with his helmet, and Juju immediately went into concussion protocol and was out for the game. And honestly, I'd be surprised if he was back by next game. So, like, that's a big loss, and that hurts. But the even worse part was that the refs initially threw a flag for unnecessary roughness, and then all of a sudden decided, oh, now we're going to pick up the flag. Are you kidding me? It was an egregious hit. Andre Sisco was clearly headhunting, and since the refs didn't enforce it, he was able to do it again just a couple plays later to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, where he went straight for the head. I mean, he was clearly headhunting. There was no question about it. He was not even attempting to wrap up or anything. He was just going straight towards the head. He did not, and the broadcast even fed this BS that he was leading with his shoulder and all this. No, Andre Sisco was headhunting, and he should have been ejected from the game. And seeing as what Dre Greenlaw got ejected for tonight, hitting Justin Herbert, I don't understand why Sisco was not ejected from today's game. I mean, that was an absolutely horrible hit, and you got to feel for Juju too, because I mean that was just tough to watch, and it's bullshit, honestly, that they allowed that to happen and they allowed it to continue even after what happened to Juju. It didn't have, this big impact on the game or anything, which I'm happy about, but I'm pissed off about it because it shouldn't have happened. The refs allowed it to happen, and now we're probably not going to have Juju next week because of it, so I'm a little fired up about it. But despite Juju getting hurt, we had a lot of great moments in this game. MVS, I talk about him. He also got hit by Andre Sisco in this game in a way that should not have been allowed, but he quietly had a good game, 3 receptions for 60 yards, and then he had that big one, the bomb from Patrick Mahomes late in the game that pretty much iced it and got the Chiefs a first down on third down when they were kind of backed up in their own territory. That was an amazing play by MVS. Great effort to stay in bounds and all. And MVS actually is quietly having a great year. He's on pace for around 800 yards, which would be a career high for him. So props to MVS. I feel like he hasn't gotten enough credit this year, but he's really been great. Also had his first touchdown of the season today, which was really nice to see. Then there was Kadarius Toney. Guys, Toney is a weapon for this team. He has only been here for a couple weeks, and this guy absolutely pops off the screen. He had a circus catch down the sideline where he just got up higher than anybody and high-pointed the catch. We're talking about little 5'10" Kadarius Toney. He just nabbed that ball out of the air like he owned it. He also got his first touchdown as not only a Chief, but his first career touchdown today. And there were a lot of questions about Kadarius Toney when he got traded to Kansas City and if he was worth it, and if he's so good, why was he traded from the Giants? What happened in New York? And then he comes here and immediately produces, and I think you're just seeing what happens when you plug in a super talented player into an offense like Andy Reid's and an organization like Kansas City's as compared to New York. I don't know what to tell you if you're a Chiefs fan and don't think Toney is going to be absolutely amazing in this offense. He is definitely a star in the making. I mean, I don't think people understand how impressive it is that he just got here a couple weeks ago and he's already doing this stuff. This is incredible. I think if there's one negative, though, that comes from Toney succeeding here already, it's that why is Toney, who just got here a couple weeks ago, out-snapping and out-producing rookie Sky Moore, who the Chiefs invested this second-round draft pick in, and he's been here. He went through the offseason programs. He went through training camp and preseason with the team. He's been here for all the season, and even with all the multiple wide receiver injuries, because Mecole Hardman didn't play today, and then Juju went out with injury, and Sky Moore still is hardly able to sniff the field. And I might make a video going more in depth on this issue later this week, but I think it's officially time to be concerned about Sky Moore and whether or not he's good, because this is concerning. Why is he not able to get on the field? Why is he not able to produce? I understand that he's a rookie and the Chiefs offense is a fairly difficult one for a rookie wide receiver to learn, but you look around the league, there's other rookie wide receivers that are producing for their teams, and there's George Pickens even, who we like to compare to Sky Moore, because the Chiefs could have taken George Pickens but instead traded out of the pick to take Sky Moore after the Steelers took George Pickens, and George Pickens looks like a star for the Steelers, and like Sky Moore is just not able to do anything. And again, I know he's a rookie, but you see now Kadarius Toney walk in the building, and he's picking up the offense. He's doing stuff. Why can't Sky Moore? But I guess I won't complain about it too much right now because the Chiefs won today, and I should probably be talking about that. Also, shout out Noah Gray, who had 2 catches for 20 yards and a touchdown today, and he's actually come on as of lately for the Chiefs. He's been a weapon for them. I love the variety that this offense creates with all their different skill players. I mean, I believe 11 different receivers caught a pass today from Patrick Mahomes, so like he definitely spread the ball around, and you need to, especially when injuries pile up, such as McCole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster, and the Chiefs are just able to find guys that can do things for them. It's really refreshing to see. Speaking of things that are refreshing to see, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire got benched by the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 0 carries today. Isaiah Pacheco led the way with 16 carries, and he had 82 yards. And despite fumbling today on the Chiefs' opening offensive drive, he ran really hard and looked really good. And I think that's what we need to see going forward is Isaiah Pacheco getting all these touches. Jerick McKinnon also played a decent portion of the snaps, and he was in there and he had some good plays. It seems like the Chiefs definitely still trust Jerick McKinnon. And Isaiah Pacheco is like their guy moving forward, it seems like. I think that's what they need to stick with. I think it showed today that it works. I definitely think this is going to be a Pacheco-McKinnon thing going forward. And honestly, I think Clyde has fallen out of favor. I really do. We've seen him come back down to earth after he started out the season strong. And we've seen his touches decrease. And that story came out from Ian Rappaport that the Chiefs were shifting towards Isaiah Pacheco. And I think that's in full swing. I think this is what we're going to see moving forward. At least I hope it is too, because I think that's what works. Because like today, the Chiefs tried to get CEH involved after Pacheco got the first drive, and they targeted him a couple times, and he couldn't corral either ball. 2 balls that probably should have been caught. The first one was a little bit more difficult, but the second one definitely should have been caught. So, this team started going to CEH, and the offense stalled. And I think they were like, okay, we're done trying this. So this is evolution from the Chiefs, and I like it. Oh, yeah, and I totally forgot to mention that Travis Kelce had a quiet 6 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown today. He continues to have a great season, and he led the way today, actually, with those 81 yards. But again, Patrick Mahomes really spread the ball around today because the Chiefs had 6 different receivers with 20 yards or more receiving. So that's pretty damn impressive. And then I got one more thing in my notes about the offense before I move on and talk about the defense today. Andrew Wiley went out early in the game with an elbow injury, and the Chiefs put Prince Tegawanago in his place, and he was good, guys. Like, he filled in very nicely, and he was actually impressive. Like, his side of the line was totally quiet after he filled in for Andrew Wiley, and I'll be curious to watch the game over again and really focus on how he performed. But, guys, I think the Chiefs might have a new right tackle for the rest of the season going forward because Prince looked good. He didn't cause any issues today. So, again, I'll be interested to see how he looked again when I watch the game over. But you have to be impressed with the way that he filled in today for Andrew Wiley. And you might have to consider starting him going forward, or at least, giving some competition there to Andrew Wiley. But, yeah, those are my thoughts on the offense from this game. Before I shift over to the defense, actually, I want to mention special teams real quick. I don't really talk about special teams unless it's a big problem or it just does really well. Special teams is kind of that forgotten phase of the game, and you just kind of expect it to happen and then not have to talk about it, but we have to talk about it because it's a problem right now. Dave Toub's unit has to be held accountable because, they continue to just have these blunders that shouldn't happen, and they hold the team back, self-inflicted wounds, like not recovering that onside kick at the beginning of the game, Jody Fortson fumbling on one of the Chiefs' kick returns, Kadarius Toney being able to pick up that ball, doing too much on the punt return. He should have let it roll into the end zone. Dave Toub, he's always coached his players to do that, and I've always heard a lot of people complain about why are the Chiefs returners always picking up kicks that they shouldn't, and why are they returning these balls that they shouldn't, or why aren't they fair catching? And it's because Dave Toub coaches them to do that. Like, it's not a player thing. It's a coach thing. He coaches them to do that. He's always said that if he's always told his players that if you feel like you have a chance to return it, go for it. And of course, every player thinks they're going to be able to return every kick to the house. Like, these are NFL players after all. I also think it's time we talk about Harrison Butker. His kicking is officially a problem, and I think we're past the point of his injury still being an excuse. Like, he missed an extra point today, and this is like his third game in a row where he just misses a kick or an extra point, and it's got to stop. Like, it has to stop, especially if Butker still wants to be considered this elite kicker. And really, this has been an issue for a few years now. It started back in 2020. The inconsistency started when he tied I believe the season record for most missed PATs. And also, he almost cost us that Browns playoff game because he missed a field goal and an extra point. And if he had made either one, there would have been no reason to panic at the end of that game. But that's a whole nother story. The point is, Butker has to clean up the kicking. Like, he has to start making these. And I don't really know what the alternative is. Maybe we let Justin Reed kick from now on. I don't know. But Dave Toub and the special teams got to figure this out quick. Because in January and February football, that's the kind of stuff that can determine games. All right, defense. I thought the defense had a pretty good day. They didn't let the Jaguars do too much. There was almost a sequence at the end of the first half, though, where they nearly gave up 10 points in 45 seconds. They let the Jaguars get an easy touchdown at the end of the first half. And then right after that, there was the special teams blunder where they gave the ball back to Jacksonville, and it almost looked like Jacksonville was going to have a chance at a touchdown. They instead go for a field goal, and then they missed it. So they only got 7 points to end the half, but they almost scored 10 points in 45 seconds, and that would have been a disastrous sequence for the Chiefs. They got really lucky. And again, that's stuff that's not going to fly when you're playing some of the better teams in this league and you start to get late in the season and wins become a lot more important and harder to come by. But overall, I thought the defense played this game very well. The defensive line absolutely showed out today. All kinds of guys were getting in on the action. Dunlap had a sack. Jones had a sack. Colin Saunders had a sack. Leo Chanel had a sack. The defensive line got a lot of pressure today. I also thought Willie Gay had a hell of a day. He was flying all over the field making plays. He had a batted down pass. It seemed like he was in on almost every single tackle. He also had a sack today where he just pulled Trevor Lawrence down by the jersey like he was nothing. It just goes to show the strength that Willie Gay has. I also thought Trent McDuffie was really impressive. He had a couple PBUs today, real big plays that prevented the Jaguars from moving the ball downfield or scoring any touchdowns. He continues to be as advertised. Trent McDuffie is going to be an absolute star. That's one of Brett Veach's best draft picks, in my opinion, since he's been here. I'm just very confident that Trent McDuffie is going to be very, very good for a long time. He is a lockdown cornerback. A couple other complaints, though, that I have about the defense is that, one, L'Jarius Sneed, what the hell were you doing out there today, man? Christian Kirk was absolutely cooking him from the slot. And I know Sneed is better than that, but today was not a good day for him. We've seen him play better. I know he can do better, but he definitely got lost a couple times. And then I definitely thought the Jaguars were able to kind of expose the middle of the defense a lot for the Chiefs today. And a lot of it was because they were blitzing Trevor Lawrence a lot, which I get. And it was effective for a lot of the time, but the Jaguars were definitely able to extend a lot of drives by just targeting the middle of the field and getting some easy yards on soft coverage. There were a lot of plays there where Trevor Lawrence was getting rid of the ball before these receivers were even breaking on their routes because they knew that they were going to be able to get easy yards out of it. And I don't know. I just thought the Jaguars came by a lot of yards that were just really easy, and I thought the Chiefs should have tightened up a little bit. And they didn't need to blitz as much as they did today. I know Spagnuolo likes to blitz, but they did not need to blitz as much as they did today. Give the Chiefs defense credit, though. They played, for the most part, a really strong game. And the Jaguars, who are actually one of the best rushing teams in the NFL, the Chiefs only held Travis Etienne to 11 carries for 45 yards. And their next leading rusher was Trevor Lawrence, who had 4 rushes for 26 yards. And he's a quarterback, so I think the Chiefs' ability to stop the run in this game really made a difference because that's really the strength of this Jaguars offense is running the ball, and the Chiefs took that away from them today. They only had 75 rushing yards total. But yeah, overall, great day. Great win. Chiefs took care of business. It was a fun game. Always like getting a win. And Mahomes is the MVP, and the Chiefs are number 1 in the AFC. So, yeah, that's all I got for this video. But with all that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And I will see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!